All right, in this point of the tutorial, we're going to look at adding the ability to pick up our pickups. Right now, we just kind of go through them. They're cool looking, but we can't collect them. So I'm going to select all of the pickups, and we're going to have to give them a collision component. And you'll notice the collision component's a little bit too big because our scale, I made it a half. So the half extent should be just a quarter, a half of what the scale is. What's nice is it's changing it for all of them at once. So now they're all the right size. We're not going to add a rigid body to these because if they had a rigid body, that means you wouldn't be able to go into them, and we actually want to be able to go inside of these and not be like stopped by them by trying to touch them. Okay, so what's next? So now we need to go to the rotator script. So I'm going to open that up. And what we're going to need to add is some code that's going to detect that there's been a trigger event. So to do that, we're going to go to the initialize portion of the rotator script, and we're going to say whatever entity we're attached to, which is one of the pickups. When there's a collision, we're going to say the following thing is going to happen on a collision. We're going to call the specific collision type we're going to look for is trigger enter. There are other types of collision events. There could be trigger exit, for example. But we're going to say when there's a trigger enter, we're going to have the following function be called on trigger enter, which is a function we're going to write in just a minute. And the class that's going to be called when this event occurs is going to be this class, this instance. So to make this work, we have to have a function called onTriggerEnter. So we're going to add that to the rotator prototype. And we named it onTriggerEnter, so that's what I'm going to call it. And it's going to be a function that accepts the entity that we are entering, or that was entering us, I guess I should say. And you have to have a semicolon here. So I have to set up a piece of this in the interface after I write the code, but I'm going to write an if statement that says, hey, if the entity I'm intersecting with, if it has in its tags the string player. So we haven't talked about the tagging system yet, but in PlayCanvas, you can give a tag to different entities, and then when you intersect with them or interact with them, you can say, do they have the tag that you're looking for? So this is like a marker. When this happens, what we want to say is the pickup, which is the current entity, we don't want it to be enabled anymore, and that'll essentially make it vanish. So I'm going to save this script, and then back in the editor, I'm going to go to the player object, and you can see there's a tag section. I'm going to type in the word player with a lowercase p. All right, that should be it. So let me give it a run. All right, so if I go over here and I hit this one, hey, it's gone. Very good. So all of my pickups are now collectible. So what we're going to look at in the next video is how can we make it so we can get points and see points when we collect our pickups.